So today we're celebrating good teachers. Of course, it is World Teachers' Day. It's a time for students and parents to celebrate and reflect on the crucial role that teachers provide, especially in a challenging environment. So in honor of this day, we're highlighting the essential role that teachers play, particularly in the early stages of education. So joining us in the studio now to reflect on that is Jessica Reilly. She's an experienced foundation phase teacher. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us, and happy World Teachers' Day. I mean, we owe everything to our teachers, honestly. And I'm still in contact with some of my teachers, and I wish I could do more, to appreciate. And in particular at that foundation phase, when we're children, we don't really have direction. We rely on teachers to provide that for us. How important is that foundation phase of teaching?
Thanks so much for having me today.
It's a pleasure.
It's so important. It's said in the name.
Yeah.
The foundation phase.
Yeah.
Without the foundation phase and the early learning centres and the early foundation, there is no foundation. Mm-hmm. It will crumble. Yeah. Education will crumble. And creating a safe environment for our children that they can actually learn through play is so important. Yeah. We think, they're just playing.
Yeah.
And they are learning social skills. They're learning negotiating skills. If I hit somebody over the head with the block, what's actually going to happen?
Yeah.
It's so important. And so many of our children don't have that today.
And why is that? Why have we, would you say we've ignored the foundation phase or seen it as less important over the past a couple of years? And why is that?
I think that parents often think, they're just little. They're just little, they don't need to go to school, it's fine, they can stay at home, they can play. Yeah. Whereas the emergent things that they are learning in the classroom is incredible. Reading books, yes, they're not reading,
yes,
but it's the picture books, it's discussing the pictures.
Yeah.
It's our gross motor skills. Without our gross motor skills, our small muscles, our fine motor skills when we go to grade 1, 2 and 3, we can't support them. Without our big muscles, our small muscles don't work.
Yeah.
And we're sending our children into grade 1, 2 and 3 without the skills that they need.
True.
And it makes it really difficult for them.
Yeah. How do teachers then balance, academic development with emotional and social growth at this very early stage? I think you touched on it just very slightly, but those are very important for the foundation phase when they go to the next level on how to play with other children nicely, how to treat each other with respect, all of that, I guess, is important at that early stage.
I think in ECD and foundation phase, it's amazing how teachers actually aren't just teaching the subjects, it's teaching those integral skills that they have to have as an adult going forward into a working environment.
Yeah.
And that's so important. And teachers can't just be in their box of that's what they need to teach. Mm-hmm. It's teaching, when you go to the bathroom, this is what you have to do. Mm-hmm. Or if somebody does this to you, this is what you have to do. It doesn't come naturally to children. Yeah. And we have to help them. And teachers are heroes because without them, these little people will flounder once they get to foundation phase 1, 2 and 3.
And I mean, what are some of the challenges at that foundation phase? And how do you navigate that? Because, teachers have always been, it's such a noble profession where there's lots of patience and passion that has to accompany your being a teacher. You're practically raising other people's children. That's what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is difficult, but I think if you are a born teacher and you have that passion, it is a thankless job. But you walk into that classroom every single day and you have these hordes of gorgeous little smiles staring at you, and you feel like a superstar. And you're a rock star. Every single day that those teachers walk into their classrooms, they are a rock star, and they are creating the careers of the future. There would be no doctors. There would be no nurses.
No journalists.
No journalists.
No anchors. No.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
Without teachers, there's nothing. And I think teachers need to remember how important they are. And without them, the heroes of the classroom would be nothing.
Absolutely. And that's so true. When it takes me back, you talk about the foundation phase. I'll tell you a little story. I was 12 years old when my teacher, in actual fact, I was very quiet, apparently. And my teacher said, there were some scouts that came to my school and said, we're looking for kiddies presenters for a television show. And they
Where
said,
it all started.
That's where it all started. It was my teacher that said, that one. So at 12 years old, there I was as a kiddies presenter. If it was not for my teacher, I would not be sitting here. What drives you? Ever since then, that drove me, and I think shaped. I was told I was a very quiet child. I cannot believe it, because I'm the loudest person ever. But that shaped my confidence. I became who I did. And what keeps you going? What drives you every single day? Because you certainly pour that as teachers into us.
Yeah. So growing up, I had remedial learning issues, and I found school incredibly difficult, difficult. And I swore to myself that I would never, ever let a child feel like I felt going through school. I feel like if you have that kind of passion behind you, you will always be a teacher. There's so many people, teachers leaving the profession.
How can we fix that?
Love your teachers.
Yeah, it's very worrying. And I think in particular, what we see on social media, teachers were widely respected. You wouldn't dare lift your voice against your teacher. Everyone wanted to be a teacher. A policeman. Yes. Those were professions that were considered as having to go in. What happened over the years? What went wrong? Why are some teachers saying, let me just leave this profession? Because that would really be a travesty for everyone.
Absolutely. I think you are completely right. Teachers aren't respected anymore. And when a teacher sits down and says, your child needs this, or maybe we should do this, it's often met with a lot of pushback. And
by the parents themselves.
Absolutely. And that's really hard as a teacher, because we are professionals. And if your cardiologist told you to do something, you wouldn't even second guess them.
Correct.
But a teacher tells you to do it and you think, they're just a teacher. And that is something that we have to change generationally. Because what are we teaching our kids? That you don't have to respect them, it's okay. No. But I think if we as teachers can hold our own and show that we are professionals and that we do love our job and we love our children. My goodness, it's you never think you have a second child and you can't love them as much, and you really do. And then you have class after class after class, and you love them. I've seen my kids that I've taught go through matric and varsity and succeeding, and it is incredible.
And it must be incredibly satisfying, when you see for the very first time this little one walk into the classroom, and you watch them grow, you watch them develop, you watch them grow their confidence, you watch them just begin life.
It's the best feeling in the world. It really is the best feeling in the world. To see these little people who are teary leaving their moms and dads at the beginning of the year, to children at this stage in the year who are confident. They know that they're coming to a safe space at our Bolu Nursery School. They just are thriving. And if we can push through and show them that if they grasp learning now and the love for learning, they can fly.
That's fantastic, because you first see them crying on the first day of school. They don't want to leave mom and dad. And then the next thing, when is school? When are we going to school? Because they make friends. They develop it's another environment where they can be with other kids and learn some things from them.
Hugely.
That's fantastic. Yes. But how important as well, before we end, Jessica, because obviously children are brought up differently. Everyone in there comes from a different household. And sometimes I tend to feel that teachers take on a lot more sometimes than parents do in raising these children. Half the day, the parent is at work. You do the job of guiding these children. How important is it to get that help from these different households? Discipline is not only supposed to be taught in the school, but it starts at home.
Absolutely, you've hit the nail on the head. We have to be a team. And it makes our jobs so much easier if we have a team player with mom and dad.
Yes.
And it doesn't always mean that we start on the same page, but that we can be kind, no matter what the differences are, if we can just be kind to each other, we can honestly overcome anything, whether it's discipline issues or remedial learning issues or physical issues. If we are kind and we love our parents, just like we love the kids in our class, we can honestly get through anything. But if our parents don't step up, it makes our life very, very difficult.
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, the characteristics that teachers possess, I always think about the patients and all the stuff that you have to deal with. I remember at times when I would be naughty, and back then we'd get a little go to the principal's office, But I mean, what would you want to say on a day like this? Maybe to a teacher who says, you know what, I'm done. A lot has changed over time. But of course, they're the wonderful aspects of the profession. I think those far outweigh the bad and what we have seen. But what would you say to a teacher today who says, I think that's about it now?
Don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up. And remember that we're doing it for the kids. We don't do it for the money, that's for sure. Yeah. And we often don't do it for the thank yous. Yeah. We do it for our kids. And if you take all the admin and all the other stuff that teachers have to deal with, if you just remember that you're just doing it for the kids, and those smiles that you have every morning when you say good morning to them, it's worth it. Stick it out. And if you want to go into teaching, please do. It's an amazing profession.
Oh, and I can see the passion on your face. And how long have you been doing it now?
I think I'd give away my age if I told you.
But I'm thinking it must take immense passion to keep going. I often say to a friend of mine, journalism is still our first love. And it's been so many years. You've got to keep going, just keep going. But I guess that's where, when you go into something for the passion of it, none of it has money, trust me. But none of it has money. But the passion and wanting to see others do great as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for all that you've done for those future doctors and future presidents and future journalists that will come out of those classrooms. Thank you very much, Jessica Reilly.
Thank you.
Of course, a foundation, very experienced foundation phase teacher. It is World Teachers Day today, so we'll be looking at various aspects of this noble profession. What has happened over the past couple of years, the good, the sometimes not so good, the challenges that they have to put up with. And of course, that President Cyril Ramaphosa a little bit later on today will be attending the Teachers Awards, and we will be covering that for you as well on SABC News. And as we celebrate Teachers today,